Many of us have an active fantasy life. Maybe in your daydreams you are a rock star, or a superhero, or maybe a powerful leader who will bring world peace and solve the climate crisis. Whatever it is you daydream about, your daydreams actually play a special role in your life as a philosopher. They are a gateway into understanding your states of mind and your self-image. If you are like most people, you probably think that your daydreams are a harmless escape. They allow us to slip away from a stressful day or from a boring meeting at work. At times, they certainly do feel this way. But as we dive deeper into philosophy, we start to unravel the web of false images that we wove in our childhood. Recognizing these patterns from childhood reveals to us that our daydreams are a powerful tool that we unwittingly use to perpetuate those false images. Say a person feels small. His inner dialogue might chastise him whenever he seeks a meaningful goal. This reinforces his feeling of smallness. Oh, what a fool he was to think he'd succeed, these voices tell him. He's nobody special. Dr. Pierre Grimes initiated the philosophical counseling movement with a paper that he wrote back in the 1950s. In his book, Philosophical Midwifery, A New Paradigm for Understanding Human Problems, he writes, "Those inner voices have their own roles and images, and as they unfold their message, they create our states of mind, our relationships to ourselves, and to our reality." And so our hypothetical man has an inner voice that keeps him convinced that the world is a big and scary place, and he's too small to achieve any slice of success. He doesn't have what it takes, whatever that might mean for him. Maybe he's not smart enough, or good looking enough, or outgoing enough. This inner voice shapes and then reinforces his whole self-image and his states of mind. But in his daydreams, everything is different. He's powerful and capable. People depend on him. They're grateful to him. What would they ever do without him? Do you see the connection between the two kinds of inner dialogue? The inner critic leaves us feeling defeated and miserable, so it is easy to label that as harmful. Daydreams, in contrast, build us back up. They fill us with energy and confidence, and that is their function. They are a defense mechanism. Yet, for all the positive benefits of daydreaming, the daydream, as surely as the inner critic, perpetuates the false self-image. Look at it this way. There would be no reason to escape into a daydream world if we didn't have negative self-images to escape from. Every daydream has at its root a self-image. When we tear down all the images of the self, the daydream world has no oxygen with which to breathe. It serves no purpose anymore, and so the wise remain focused on the present moment. While we are still working towards that goal, daydreams will plague us to one degree or another. Daydreams can be powerful. They suck us in with their intensity. They are captivating, and for however long we are lost in one, they consume all of our time and attention. But we can find the energy to pull ourselves away from our daydreams and really examine them. When we do, we find that our daydreams are a powerful tool in our quest to know thyself. They tie us back to that very self-image that we need to open up and to question. Dr. Grimes explains it like this. Fantasy life is made up of fragments of our unfinished past. We return to them to be finished. This is something that is profound about our nature. Our mind functions to return us to what needs to be finished. So the daydream is a response to our inner dialogue, to those voices that mirror our own self-image back to us. It challenges us to go back and resolve the false conclusions that we had reached in childhood. Early in our life of philosophy, we may feel that daydreams are a harmless pleasure, and it is one that most people resist letting go of. When we are ready to truly understand ourselves and resolve our lingering false beliefs, we can no longer let ourselves escape into fantasy. Instead, we can use the daydream as a tool that our minds are sending us. Self-images are always at the root of the daydream. So instead of getting tangled in that imaginary web, pull away and see what the structure of that daydream really is. Look at it like a movie. What is the storyline? Who are the characters? What is their motivation? What are their values? And why are they like this? What are the forces that shaped them? All of this brings us back to childhood, to those scenes that shaped us. Some of us were belittled as children. Some of us had parents who did everything for us, and so we never learned to be self-sufficient. Many of us learned that the world is a big, scary place full of disappointment and disillusionment, a dog-eat-dog world. Or maybe we are just small, simple people, salt of the earth. You shouldn't aim high. That is not our lot in life. Whatever your family story, you will find that the self-image you still hold on to is the foundation of your fantasy life. This means that even your escape from those images is not really an escape. These images need to be recognized and resolved. I do have videos on how to work with a false belief once you pinpoint one. There is a multi-step procedure, and I will link one of those videos here. Also, you can find more on this system called Philosophical Midwifery in my playlist that is titled Practice. But the first thing that needs to be done is to recognize the false beliefs, and so that is what I will talk about here. So in this video, I'm focusing on working with daydreams. When we pull away from one and start questioning the beliefs it is built on, we start to see what image of the world that story is based on. A world in which, for example, only the rich are happy, or a world in which popularity matters and we can gain it by impressing people with our genius, because of course we can. We're philosophers after all. So you want to ask, what self-image is this fantasy addressing? When you turn this question inward, you're likely to get at least some scattered images of family members and maybe some past events. Now, sometimes a whole scene does pop into your thoughts, but it's quite common to start with just some scattered images, and that's fine. It's good to keep a journal and to write these down. You may have to come back to this exercise multiple times before a clear memory unfolds. Even with incomplete memories, though, you can start to get a feel for which themes are playing out. It is important to answer to the judgments about yourself that you walked away with. This alone is actually enough to quiet some of these inner voices. And you will find that once the self-image is seen through, you cannot fall back into the same daydream in quite the same way. Now, this might actually feel awkward or even lonely at first. You might miss that daydream if it was one that you had been enjoying. That's a small price to pay, though, for a healthier sense of self. And I promise you, you have plenty of other self-images that will give rise to other daydreams. You will give up daydreaming altogether when you are ready, when turning off these movies feels like a blessing rather than a punishment. And that day will come when you've unraveled a good number of these false self-images. Doing so reduces the cacophony of judgmental voices in your head, And so I do recommend that you watch those videos on philosophical midwifery. This system takes us beyond recognizing themes and patterns, as important as doing that is. It takes us to the very first time we came to believe a particular thing about ourself that is false. And this is what is necessary in order to truly rid ourselves of a deeply ingrained belief. So please check those videos out. And this process starts by looking at the structure of your daydreams, finding the themes. I hope you found this video helpful, and I do hope you'll give it a try. Let me know how it's going for you, either in the comments section or you can drop me an email. If you have any questions or you're having any difficulties, please feel free to write to me. I think this work is a vital part of understanding ourselves, and so I don't charge people for guidance or advice. Many people want to skip this aspect and just focus on metaphysics. But in order to know what we are, we really do need to see through what we are not. So I truly do hope you'll give this a try. And as always, I thank you for watching. Till next time.